So, what is like the number one thing that girls complain about with their clothes? Pockets. None of our clothing has any pockets. None of our dresses have pockets. None of our skirts have pockets. Our shorts don't have pockets. Our pants have pockets, but they're only going to be like an inch long, which is terrible. You can't store anything in that. Anytime that we find some sort of clothing with pockets, like maybe if we're shopping, we see a dress and we're like, not sure how I feel about this. And then you realize, oh my God, this has pockets, instant buy, because it's so rare. Why do we have no pockets? Sometimes we have fake pockets. Fake. Just decorative. What's the use of that? In this video, I'm going to show you how to add pockets onto your existing clothing. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure the pocket will actually be big enough to fit your hand. So you can just make your own little pocket pattern by tracing your hand on a piece of paper. And then I like to leave a little extra bleed room on it for where the sewing is going to go. So you can just cut that out, and that is your pocket pattern. You can use any material for the pocket. I'm using an old shirt that I had when I was a kid that I outgrew. And you're going to want to end up with 4 equal pieces of fabric. So because it's a shirt, I'm already getting 2 with the front and back. I'm just going to fold it in half to save myself a little time. And I get my pocket pattern there. And you have a few ways you can do this. You can trace it like I'm doing here. All right. To figure out where the cut's going to be. You could also just cut around it without bothering to trace it first. Or you could even use pins to kind of pin around the edges of the pattern to tell you where approximately the cutting should go. Pinning is helpful because it pins all the different layers of fabric in place together so that they aren't slipping and sliding while you're cutting them. So I do recommend doing just a few pins anyway, even if you are not using them as your guide. So maybe you don't need as many, you could just do a couple. But that is how you can tell exactly where you should be cutting to get basically the same general thing as your pocket pattern. So once you've cut it out, you should have 4 equal pieces of fabric. There you go, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're gonna want, if you have a pattern or something that you want on the inside is where you want it to be, because that's going to be the part that people see. I'm just drawing a little flower so you can see it on the shirt, since the shirt is the same on both sides on this one. But say you're using an old shirt that has like nice flowers or something on the one side, and that's the side you want to be at the inside of the pocket. So you just sew around the edges. And you have your 2 pockets, and then you can see if you turn it sort of inside out, right? That's where you can put your hand, and if you look at the inside, you can see that that is where the nice part is, the pattern is that you want to see. So the next thing you want to do is figure out where on your clothing you want to put the pockets. So you can just sort of figure out where you want them to fall and then make little marks at the seam where it's going to be. Here you can see what it's going to look like. You just want to sort of measure to make sure they're the same distance up on the dress or whatever you're adding pockets to. And the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to go to where the dress seam is, where you're going to be putting the pocket in, and you're just going to want to rip open the seam. So you can just easily, with a seam ripper, rip it open and just continue that all down. And once you're done, you can see you have a little hole, and that's where you're going to sew the pocket on. So you have the one side of the pocket that's going to sew on to the one side of the hole in the seam of the dress. And then the other side is going to get sewn onto the other side of the dress, so that when you're done, it's just going to be a nice pocket. So here again, you can see, I'm just going to sew those together. And there you go, that's what your pocket looks like. You reach in and that is, you can put your hand in there. This is the nice side of the fabric where I drew the flower earlier. And there you go. Look at that. You can put your cell phone, you can put your wallet, you can just put your hands. You've got a pocket. Now, the next thing you can do this with pants too. These are some pants I wear for work. Maybe I want to carry my cell phone, but I can't because this pocket is useless. First of all, they've sewn it shut for some reason. Who knows why they did that? And then the part that is there, you know, you can get your fingers in a little bit on the sides maybe, but it's very shallow. Look at it. So even if it was open, it's just a very small pocket, which is incredibly useless. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rip out that stupid stitch that's holding the pocket closed. Just like before, all right. And then you can see it's a very small pocket, but following the same concept as the dress, if you just take that out, you can open up the seam of that inner pocket, and then you can replace it with a much larger piece of fabric. So that's it. I hope this was helpful to a lot of people. Figuring all this stuff out in order to do this video was very helpful to me. I'm going to start doing this to all my clothing now. It's so surprisingly simple to do, and it's just a huge lifesaver, honestly. I look forward to seeing you all carrying stuff now.